All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, we are going to do the 4v4 tournament, semifinals, match number 2. I want to apologize in advance to the contestants and those of you guys watching. I bought a new capture card, and it didn't work properly. I didn't capture all of the clips. I apologize. So some of these clips, I'm just going to have to explain what happened. I'm going to explain my thought process. We're going to go through all that. Hopefully this video is still fun for you guys. The matches were really good. So the first one, we got Spyvern, Mr. Ficky, Jaeger, and Chalupa. I Can't Find the Way, Scythe, SSG Instinct, and ESO and Rage. Now, both these teams were EP teams, and because of that, instead of having a 4v4 tournament, we had to turn it into dueling. Neither team could transition their players to DC or AD. That was just what we decided here. That's, the problematic part of trying to have a 4v4 tournament. Sorry about that. When one team dominates, or when one faction dominates the way EP did in this 4v4 tournament, there was 3 EP teams in the semifinals. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. So this first fight is between Scythe and Mr. Ficky. Now this is the second or third match that we had. My original set of rules, I had it to where you couldn't adjust gear or skills. Wanted people to go in there with like full dueling specs, and it accomplished the goal in 4v4 tournament. In the 4v4 tournament, like matches last 2 to 3 minutes tops. I think the longest the match lasted was about 3 minutes, which was pretty cool. Like it accomplished my goal of it being fast-paced, action-packed. But the problem with that is Scythe was running a spin-to-win build, and Mr. Ficky was on a Magplar. So I went to both teams, pulled them into a chat, and I said, hey guys, if you guys really want me to do judges' decisions and decide each match for you guys, I absolutely can do that. But the problem with that is a judge's decision, somebody's always going to be upset. It's not as cut and dry as somebody dying. And so because of these fights between Scythe and Mr. Ficky, what we decided to do was people they had to keep the same gear. So if you're running dual wield and 2H, you had to still run dual wield and 2H. You couldn't adjust your weapons, but you could adjust your skills. That way, it allowed people to die, potentially. That way there wasn't as many judges' decisions and people weren't mad at me and, accusing me of bias. And it makes fights more fun when it's not a judge's decision, because then I can, let's be honest. As viewers, do you guys want to see me go, hey, this guy dropped this person to 50% health or lower, had him in execute one more time over a 15-minute stretch, so because of that I voted for them? Or do you want to see somebody just, getting off a nice burst combo and finishing them? I think we can all agree, even from my perspective, I would much rather see the second thing. That's why I proposed it. Both sides were very cool about this. They were like, yeah, absolutely, we would much rather decide this than you. However, even with the changes, as I've talked about in multiple videos, healing is just very powerful this patch. So you have a Magplar, Extended Ritual, and Breath of Life, and you have a Stam Crow, with Vigor, Rally, and Mortal Coil. And it's just... these were the closest fights of this entire round. So the first fight that we had, it was an actual tie. There was no way I could have decided who won it. Literally, they both had the same amount of burst combinations. Scythe ran out of resources at one point and went full defensive for a good 20 seconds to get his resources back. So it was going to go to Ficky, but then all of a sudden Scythe got off a nice combo, and Ficky was out of stamina, and he couldn't CC break for, the 3 or 4 second duration. And so at both points in that fight, they were out of resources, and they had the same burst combo, so we just counted it as a tie. We had 2 more fights. This is one of the fights, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of the action, but they were just very, very tanky, very hard to kill, and so I had to do a judge's decision for all of them, and we had a tie in the first one. Scythe won the next one via judge's decision, and then we decided, everybody agreed that, let's have a third one, see if we can get a kill in here and decide it out. And the third one went to a judge's decision as well. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. It's just like open world PvP. Sometimes you run across a person that you can't kill due to your gear setup and due to your class and combinations of healing. Their combinations of healing, sometimes they can't kill you either. And you guys just have to end up turning away and go in the other direction. So despite my best efforts, that's just the way it goes sometimes. We see a few nice combinations. Blast Bones is doing a good job of, giving Defile, but Ficky's doing a good job staying on his heels. You see Scythe doing a really good job of just keeping his Mortal Coil up, keeping his debuff or his buffs up, preventing any real burst from happening. They were good fights. They were fun to watch, but yeah, these all had to go to a judge's decision. So with that being said, it ended. Like I said, Scythe won this, so I can't find the way Scythe and SSG Instinct and them took a 1-0 lead in this best of 3. So if you win the best of 3, your team wins one of the whatever, and whoever wins the most out of the 4 teams moves on. So that's the way that one went. This one, these were probably the best fights of the entire thing. We had Spyvern versus SSG Instinct. We had a Stamsork versus a Magblade, and I was only able to get one fight from Spyvern's perspective. The other one I have to do it from mine, but this is the first fight, and you're going to see just a shit ton of action. Stamsork is very bursty with their 10% up damage up front, more damage up front, and Spyvern definitely built for a lot of burst. You see he's got his Ransack on his back bar to give the major fracture. He's also running the new bound armaments for more burst there, and you see SSG Instinct is just doing a really good job putting out a ton of pressure. We've talked in the past about how Magblades in open world PvP struggle a little bit. In 1v1s, they're still not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're great, but they're definitely not bad, and you can definitely see in this fight that at different points in time, SSG and Spyvern just have each other on their toes. And these are the types of fights that, they're fun to watch. I had a lot of fun watching these and commentating on them, just seeing what each player was trying to do. And you can see from, even Spyvern's perspective, like he was on his toes a lot of the fight, just dark dealing, getting some health back. You see he takes a really nice combination there. He's going into his Dizzy Swing combinations, and SSG was just doing a good job keeping his heals up, keeping his Shadow Image up. You see they go with the Dark Heal here, and you see Spyvern just trying to line up his burst. Dawnbreaker, D-Swing Dawnbreaker, medium stun with the Bound Armaments into a Dawnbreaker to try and finish him off. But this wasn't a result of tankiness. This was a result of 2 players, playing their classes well, going on the defensive well, doing some things like using Shadow Image in their heals properly. Not saying that the other players didn't play well, but, neither one of them was really killing each other. These 2, you can absolutely tell that they can kill each other in this fight, and that's what made it a little bit better. I'll explain in the next one, but yeah, he catches him with a really nice burst, just a quick D-swing with another D-swing and an execute, and then it all crits, and he dies. So this is the second match, so it's 1-0 Spyvern. You see he's going with the D-swings, you see the bound armaments. Like I said, sorry I couldn't get this one in first person. We didn't get it captured, but yeah, he had a really nice chance for the burst there. You see he probably would have had his in cap, just missed it. And then so he lined it up again, and if that was there, that would have probably taken him out. And so, like I said, this fight was a lot of fun. But it's 1-0 Spyvern right now. Spyvern wins this. His team gets a match victory, and it would be 1-1 for the teams. If SSG wins, they got to fight one more time in the best of 3 series, and just a chance to get another win for his team. So you see he's got a nice dodge roll there. He drops his heel. Really big onslaught, couple executes, really nice dodge roll. He's got a Shadow Image back, just barely recovering there. That was a ton of burst from Spyvern's perspective. So now they got to reset it up. You see he takes a pretty nasty fear there, gets stuck in place with the Crippling Grasp. Vigor's up, nice Shadow Image just to recover. At this point, I'm sure SSG was struggling a little bit on resources just from that burst combination. But you see he catches him with a really nice Spectral Bow, dropping him to half health. Goes for the Soul Harvest, and as we know, Nightblade Burst is a little lacking sometimes, and it's easy to dodge. Spyvern does a really good job of dodging that the Soul Harvest. His Shadow Image jukes me out there. He goes for the Spectral Bow. Spyvern dodges the Spectral Bow, doing a really good job of just dodging a lot of SSG Instinct's damage here. So he drops another Shadow Image for the kite ability and the damage mitigation. Sorry, I don't know why I put my weapons out there. I just got so excited. I wanted to fight, but yeah, these were really good fights on both sides, in my opinion. We get a really nice fear there, go for the Spectral Bow. I see the Spectral Bow go off, but it didn't look like it landed. It didn't look like Spyvern dodged either, so I'm not sure what happened there, but sometimes the game misses with people standing up. I don't know why that's the case, but it is sometimes. He misses a fear there. Gets a really nasty onslaught. Gets a stun there. Those delayed stun. He's trying to pop his hots, trying to go in. He does a really nice fear there to keep himself alive. I think if he doesn't fear there, he would have probably would have caught an execute, which would have killed him. He then returns a really nice in cap. He fears. He goes for the spectral bow. Spyvern dodges the spectral bow once again. If that spectral bow lands, I think it might have been over. You saw him at half health. He gets 20% more damage. If that spectral bow crits, I think he has a chance to get the W there. But once again, it misses. We talked about mag blade issues in the past, which is burst in general. But he still does a really nice job of weaving half his health without really catching a nice burst combination there. So a bunch of damage. They're both at half health. They're both trying to go on the defensive, recovering a little bit. You see the Defile come into play here. The Defile from Soul Harvest is doing a good job of causing Spyvern to not be able to recover. Takes a really nasty spectral bow there. Drops to half health. Does a dark deal. Drops to half health again. And now you just see he's on the recovery point right here. SSG Instinct's doing a really good job of applying pressure in this entire fight. And yeah, I'm going to take a minute from commentating off this. I decided to do these. So how we did these fights is we just did round, like I picked them. I did an RNG based. I put names in a random number generator, and I just matched them up against another person. So these weren't by design. These players didn't choose who they were fighting. It was just, hey, this person decides this based off of the RNG god. So these are the fights that we had. Really nice Soul Harvest there. Spyvern does a really good job of catching him with a medium weave, stunning him on the ground so he doesn't take the Spectral Bow. Once again, just the burst not lining up well for the Mag Blade for SSG Instinct here. And now, see Spyvern going a little bit more offensive. In this situation, he gets caught with a cripple here. Gets nice job of snaring him in place. Half health, a couple executes. Now he's recovering. He doesn't have his shadow image up, and that's the end of the fight. So Spyvern moves on, gets 2 quick W's there. So now it's 1-1, and now we have ESO and Rage versus Chalupa Bortman. It's not the most important part of this fight, but Chalupa Batman is a reference to one of the best TV shows ever. I feel like you guys need to know that. But anyways, ESO and Rage takes the first fight there rather quickly. This is going to be a quick fight. These fights can go rather quickly. We have Stamplar versus Stamcrow. 2 of the best burst classes in the game. In general, Stamcrow with their Blast Bones, D-Swing, and Onslaught is going to shred people. We all know about Stamplars right now. Biting jabs hit very hard. Power of the Light can crit. You got the snare in place. All these sorts of things can end a fight rather quickly. And it's no disrespect to either of these players that first fight ended quickly. It's just, sometimes that's going to happen. You see these jabs are shredding pretty hard. These guys are both built for, basically for potential 1v1s, and that's going to come into play. And that's just the way it is sometimes. Like, cutthroat PvP is the best kind of PvP. You see that Blast Bones and that Onslaught. Chalupa does a really good job of connecting there, but there was no stun to follow up for the execute. I think if he had a stun there, he probably could have gotten a kill. You see that Blast Bones comes in with a D-Swing, drops him to half health once again. ESO and Rage is a little bit on the defensive here, getting his buffs back up, just weaving, making sure he's at full resources. Power of the Light, Javelin, set of jabs, another set of jabs, misses the Onslaught. If that Onslaught lands, he probably gets the W there. So he drops his Purify after he gets defiled, drops his Rune once again, and very good fights on both sides once again. Another Javelin, another set of jabs, another set of jabs. Blast Bones is deciding to watch this fight right there. Doesn't line up very well, so he just drops his Purify once again, removes the negative effects of the Defile. Does a really good job of doing the Mortal Coil here, takes another Onslaught. I think that Onslaught was blocked. I can go back and look at it, but it looked like it was blocked. It didn't take a ton of damage there. Blast Bones goes off, ton of damage with the D-Swing. If he had an Onslaught lined up there, that was, once again, would have probably been a good game. We got another set of jabs, drops him to half health. Purifies the Blast Bones, which is really what you have to do when you're fighting a Stamcrow. That's really smart on ESO and Rage's part. But they're both doing a good job keeping their heals up, keeping their buffs up. And now he catches him with a nice burst, drops him to half health, Blast Bones, drops an Onslaught. The Onslaught got blocked, but at this point, he's just trying to recover. So he sets another Power of the Light, another set of jabs, another Javelin, and he moves on. So ESO and Rage wins those. So 2-1 for ESO and Rage's team. And then finally, we had the final fight between I Can't Find the Way and Jaeger. I only had one of these fights. I'm sorry, like I said, my capture card. These fights were also very good. We have a Magden versus a Stand Blade, and so you're going to see burst combinations between the Stand Blade, and you're going to just see non-stop pressure from Jaeger. So Jaeger's going to be using Shock Clench. You see he's going to have really good healing, and basically this entire fight, it was really hard for Jaeger to line up his beetles. Like every time he's trying to line them up, you see I Can't Find Way is doing a great job of just line of sighting, dodge rolling through them, and that's how you have to fight. That's how you have to fight a Stamden or a Magden. Like you see those beetles go down, you have 3 seconds. You dodge roll out of the way, you walk through them, you make sure that they don't land because they're going to hit you really hard. And so he's doing a good job of just avoiding that damage, but the damage that you can avoid right now is Northern Storm or Permafrost. It's a lot of pressure. He's doing a good job of keeping his buffs up. That's what you have to do in this situation. It doesn't do the same burst damage that it used to, but it can be wearing on your resources to constantly go through the fight dealing with that sort of thing. And so I thought this fight was going to be really interesting because, like I said, Magden is more of a wear you down, and it's not the first Permafrost that's going to kill you. It's the second or third one when you're out of resources, and then all of a sudden you're just taking all that burst damage. You take a Beetles. You take a Beetles with a Shock Clench and that Permafrost, and you're half resources. That's what's going to end you. So I thought they were going to be super interesting, and they were. The first fight, which is this one, it drug on for the entire 15-minute duration. I had to do a judge's decision on it, and I'll explain that at the end here. We're going to do a little bit more commentary. But you see both these guys are playing their class pretty well. You see that Jaeger has his AoE Fear, which basically fears after 3 ticks. So if you're in that duration for 3 ticks, it fears you and stuns you in place. Really nice Spectral Bow combination. Jaeger does a good job of getting his Major Heroism up to stop that from happening. Just absorbs that Spectral Bow. If he didn't have his shards there, probably would have been the end. Probably would have been a killing blow right there. I Can't Find the Way told me that this entire time he was basically at low resources just due to the pressure. And so these fights were pretty interesting because there were a few times I Can't Find a Way went in for his burst combination, and due to being in there for about 3 seconds, due to the fear being up, he got stunned and he couldn't get the finishing burst off. There was also just Jaeger putting out all this AoE pressure, and so he did a really good job of healing up. It's not easy to survive all this AoE pressure. You see this happening. He's going in with the Shock Clenches. He's going in with his burst combination, and he's just doing a good job of weaving behind him, in front of him, behind him, to the side, making sure he's avoiding damage as much as he is just going on the offensive. So really good movement from I Can't Find the Way's part in this entire fight. The first fight, this one right here, went to a judge's decision. So I Can't Find the Way had better burst combinations. You see one there. He almost finished him a little bit earlier. And he's just doing a really good job of avoiding damage. It's not easy to deal with a Magden's burst, and he did a really good job of just moving in and out, really avoiding a bunch of stuff. You see, went in for the burst there. He got feared. Didn't get a complete burst combination for that reason. It's the interesting thing about Magdens, in my opinion, is just that combination there. Jaeger does a really good job of avoiding some bursts there. Goes into his Permafrost once again, and you see he takes the stun, and now he's got to go full defensive basically to try and get some resources up. Hits the siphoning attacks, pops his vigor, keeps his rally up, make sure he's got his heals coming in. So in case he takes burst, he's not going to die. I Can't Find the Way took this one for the reasons mentioned above. Just more burst combinations, more sustained pressure. Went out there. The next fight, Jaeger went more offensive. Tried to get a finishing blow because Nightblade burst is real, and so he realized that he had to go offensive. He ended up getting caught. He tried to go offensive. I Can't Find a Way did a good job of just catching him with an in-cap Spectral Bow combination. Killed him in the second one. So the first one went judge's decision, and the next one I Can't Find a Way won. And so it was 3-1 for ESO and Rage's team. They move on to the championship to face off against Bangs' team. So since they're both EP, it will be dueling matches for the final round. So I will have that probably in the next couple days. Going to get the third place match set up and that posted first before the championship. But very, very good fights on both sides here. I thought the fights were a lot of fun. I thought both teams did a great job of, being accommodating, wanting to make sure fights end, make sure fights didn't go to a judge's decision. At the end of the day, like, you got to do that, but I'd rather not have rounds won or lost based off of, what my kill count is. But sometimes that's the way it's got to be, there's never going to be perfect balance in the game. Sometimes, due to play style, gear setups, and all that, sometimes you just can't kill people. And that's the way a few of these were. Hats off to both opponents. Really well done. We'll see you guys in the next one.